Welcome to In Our Community. I'm Suzanne Barnett, your host, and I am so honored and delighted to introduce our guest, Clifford, Books Aloud. Clifford, I love that title. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure. Now tell us, what is Books Aloud?
Books Aloud is the easiest way to describe it. It's reading by listening. And what we have is we have 2 recording studios, and we record books for people that can't read normally. So anyone who has any kind of a disability, could be someone who's blind, could be someone who has MS, could be special ed kids. And what we've been doing for about 40 years now, just over 40 years, is we've been recording books. We have volunteers that record the books for us. We edit them, and then we put them in a format that's easy for them to use. It's a free service. We've always been very much connected with the library. Right now we're in the basement of the Martin Luther King Library, downtown San Jose. We were at the previous library before it moved to downtown. And so we've been very honored by them to help support us. They give us a small stipend every month, and they give us all of our space.
How wonderful of them to do that, and how wonderful of you to do what you do. How in the world did you get associated with Books Aloud?
Well, it goes back. Let me tell you a little bit story about how Books Aloud got started, which was Florence Peer was the original person that started this process. Her mother loved to read and started losing her eyesight. So what she did is she started communicating with people, and this is in the early 70s. So I don't know if there were a lot of audiobooks at that time, but that's what she did. She created a system and a process and got permissions from publishers to record these books and then make them available for people that couldn't read. It's always been a free service. We supply people all over the United States and some even outside of the United States. We deliver the books. We have mini libraries in the schools. So what's wonderful about that is all the special ed kids in San Jose have the ability, any teacher can contact us and we'll provide these books. The way that I got started was my mother was the executive director, Joyce Meurer, for many years. I came to help maybe 5 years ago with something. I just was visiting in town, and she was at the office, so I went by, and I was doing something on her computer, and it was really slow. And I'm like, Mom, is it always like this? She's like, yeah, it's always that slow. And so that was my incentive, being a computer consultant, to do something else, to help her with that process. So that's how I got originally started.
Tell us about your mother.
So my mother has been a volunteer in the Santa Clara County since I was a little kid. She was always involved with, clubs like West Valley Federated Women's Club, Kiwanis. She was always taking me by the hand saying, come on, we're going to go do this.
Yeah.
I remember delivering things to, like women's shelters. And so she always encouraged me to volunteer. And, it's like one of the most important things we can do is really honor volunteers and what they give, because they just show up.
They do.
Yeah.
I think you've already answered one of the questions, and it says you offer services to the whole world.
Yes.
How does that work?
Well, one of the things that I love that we do is we actually record the Lions magazine every month. And so Lions Club supports blind all over the world.
Oh.
And so we record that for any of their members that need it as well.
Yeah.
So that's one of the ways that we do it. And those get sent out, all over.
Yeah.
The other way is, once again, we support the local community, but from anywhere in the U.S., and we have some in Canada, they can request our services. Literally, they can just go onto our website, and they have to have a form from their doctor that says that they're not able to read normally. So it has to be approved to get the service, because the service is free, and it's only for people that really need that service. And so what we'll do is we'll actually send them the books, if they want them once a month or every 2 weeks, whatever time frame that they would like to have those books.
Oh, that is fantastic, really. What basic group of people does Books Aloud serve usually? That's
a really good question. I see 2 specific groups. Young people, young kids, especially, and like I say, we do the mini libraries in the schools. We just started working with PACE Foundation, which is for the autistic kids.
What foundation?
PACE Foundation.
Yeah, what does that stand for?
PACE is Pacific Autistic, sorry, I don't know the breakdown, but it's basically autistic children. And they actually were guest speakers at our big event that we have every year. We'll talk about that a little bit later. And so with them, what we'll do is we'll provide these mini libraries. So what a mini library is it's going to be a couple of players. That could be a CD player, it could be a tape player, it could be Nooks. We use Nooks as an audio player. And then the books that go with that. And so the advantage there is we have a reading by listening program where people use it, and sight and sound. So people can be looking at the book while it's being read to them from the device. So
you're getting, the senses are getting both things going, right?
Yeah, so people are able to learn how to read by listening.
I understand you have such a dedicated volunteer group, staff. How do you keep them with you? How do they stay with you?
I think it starts with appreciation. Like we have, I would guess that we have probably 50 active volunteers at any given time. Some of them are people that are reading. They come in every week and they'll read for an hour. And that's amazing to make that commitment to come in week after week after week and read a book. An adult book could take as long as 6 months to complete. So that's a big commitment, to show up every week, same time, and show up.
And so why do you think they're so dedicated?
That's a good question. I think one of the things that I know from being a volunteer myself is it's very rewarding, to show up and just to help other people and not expect anything back.
Right.
We don't even need validation. It's just like there's something about giving that feels really good. And so I think that's why people volunteer. I think there's always an opportunity to help others. And that's what Books Aloud is all about. It's about helping others.
Well, yours is so dramatic. We volunteer here at KMVT, and it's dramatic in a different way.
Yes.
It's for all the hams.
Oh.
No, but we do have, what came to my mind, Clifford, is that it's similar. I mean, the feeling that we have that we want to keep doing it.
Yes.
This is such a good question. What is the feedback that you get from those that you serve? And what are the good points and bad points that they report in the service provided?
Also, another really good question.
Yeah.
I love there's a, and I don't remember his name, I apologize for that, but there's a young man on our video. If you go on our website and look at our story, there's a young man that talks about his experience with Books Aloud. And what I love about this is he was really struggling in school, and he didn't really know why. And what they found out is that he was dyslexic. And so by using the books and following along with the books, he was able to shift that dyslexia.
Really?
And he actually went on to be an honor student and then went on to college. So to hear those kind of stories, that kind of feedback about how, what we have done, what we offer, the service that we have, has helped somebody progress through, areas that they didn't even imagine they would get through.
Absolutely. Now, is there any cognitive value of someone, say, like him, that can actually help change the brain, do you think?
I think so. I think it's, we're learning how to work with the brain differently. We look at, a lot of the kids that are special ed kids, autism and Asperger's, we don't really understand how it works, but their brain just works differently. So if there's a way that we can help them to move through that learning, that's all we can ask.
And hearing the language, and then is there any part of it that they learn how to actually read?
Absolutely.
Oh, there is.
Yeah. So they will be reading along with the book and listening to it.
Yeah.
And then they can also be reading the book themselves.
That's it.
One of the wonderful things on the Nook books that we have is we have applications also that are sight and sound. And they have 3 different choices. Most of these are put out by Ohm Media, which is a great, application, and you can get it on Nooks and iPads and things like that. And we have a lot of the Dr. Seuss works, which is really fun.
Oh, yeah.
And so on those, they'll be able to actually touch different things on the page, which will sound the word. Or it can say, read to me, where it's reading along the book, or just auto read, where it just reads them the whole book, and it's turning the pages for them, but you're looking at it on a screen. So very similar to our Sight and Sound program, these programs are starting to be created also. And with the Nook books, we're able to put those on the applications also. So that's been really helpful.
What happened? This is just an off-the-cuff question.
Sure.
But years ago, when Books Aloud started, and we didn't have all this technology, how did it work then?
That's a really good question. So what we used to do, and we still have these old recorders mounted on the wall in the studios, we recorded right to tape. So literally, as you know, we had a really good quality microphone. It wasn't going through a computer like it does now, and it was going right to the tape. And then we had all the tape duplicating machines to make extra copies of it. So that's how we started, like just recording on tape. And it's just the standard cassette tape. It wasn't big reel-to-reel or any fancy thing. And it's fascinating to look at those machines are still on our wall in the studios.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The before and after. And so what do you think is going to happen to Books Aloud in 20 years?
Well, that's a good question. So one of the things that has happened is we started using these Nooks. We did a fundraiser at Barnes & Noble, and what they do is, as people come in and whatever they buy, then it gets, it's money for Books Aloud, which becomes a gift certificate, so we could buy other kids' books. Well, one of the things that happened is Joyce was there, and she's like, could we use these Nooks as players? I'm like, I don't know. Let's buy some, we'll find out. And so that's how that all started. It started from a fundraiser. We found out these are really easy to use. They're really durable. So even for, kids that are tough on stuff, it was great. And the kids really relate to this technology. So back about 2010, we started making everything digital. So what was great about that is now we have the ability to not only have them on tapes or CDs or a device, like an MP3 device, but we also have it now on our main server. So my fantasy is that some big company in Silicon Valley is going to come and say, we want to help you write an application. We want to help you to put this out so that we can serve more people, that we can help you find a way to do this. As you can tell, I get a little emotional about that because I know what we have the ability to do.
Yeah.
And we just need help.
May I ask you something?
Yeah.
I'm trying to put it into words. Why do you think you feel so dedicated to this?
Because I believe we're here to learn and serve.
Yeah.
Not only are we doing that with this organization, but we're helping other people do that as well.
Yeah.
People that wouldn't have the opportunity to read, we're helping them do that. And if I can help somebody, that makes me happy.
And you do.
Yeah.
I told you that when I first met you, we were in the green room, I just see sunshine all around you. You're so positive.
Thank you.
How'd you get that way?
That's a good question. Once again, a lot of that goes back to my mother.
Yeah, tell.
She encouraged me to have that attitude, that energy of being positive. I've had many great teachers that helped with that also. But let's stay about Books Aloud.
I know, but I love to find out about people, and I think that if someone can relate to that, to the way you are, it can help them.
I feel I've been really blessed in this life to be able to do this work, to be able to be of service, and that's always my intention. If I can make a difference in one person's life in one moment, then I had a good day.
A good life, too.
And a good life.
So, has Books Aloud expanded the description of the group it serves over the years?
I believe it has, because I think when it first started, it was mostly for seniors. I think that was kind of our focus, was to really, cater to seniors. Once again, Florence Pierre's mother was losing her eyesight, and we knew that we could help, along those lines. Along the way, we realized, well, this would also be helpful for kids. So, these are two completely different areas.
Indeed.
But they have a very similar need. So the needs are the same, the clientele is different.
I heard that you had your annual fundraising event. How did that go?
This year was absolutely wonderful. So we do this every year. It's been going on for countless years.
Yeah.
We used to do masquerade balls right around October. And then last year we chose to do something different. We said, let's make it like a black tie event or optional black tie event. Let's dress it up. And it was a wonderful event. And we did that at San Jose Country Club. The staff out there is amazing. The space is beautiful. And we had a blast doing it out there. So we did it again this year. We filled the place. There was about 150 people. I don't know how we're going to get more next year, because I know there will be more next year. We have a silent auction, a live auction. Our auctioneer was amazing at just encouraging people and engaging people and bringing people in. The theme was Dr. Seuss, because Dr. Seuss has also supported us for many, many years. It's been really fun to just dance with, like, how do we change this? How do we make it a little bit different? We have a lot of wonderful donors who give us things that we can raffle or share. Local wineries that help us also by giving us discounts to do that. Just a really, really fun event. It's interesting you bring that up, because just today I got an email from our photographer, which was Silent A Photography. Amber is our photographer. And so now there's about, I think, 300 pictures that if you go to our Facebook page, our Books Aloud Facebook page, you can see the pictures and you can see what the gala was all about. Because she got some great pictures.
It's Books Aloud, Inc.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can find us on Facebook.
Are there any other non-profit groups in the area that lend a hand to you?
Absolutely.
Who?
So two of the ones, especially just in the last 18 months, one was in TORA Foundation, and they do some amazing work in Silicon Valley, supporting other nonprofits. They gave us a wonderful donation, and hopefully there's a picture that we have that will show them with us receiving that check. So I really want to honor in TORA Foundation what they did.
Yeah, and it says, and how can, we're going to show two pictures.
Yeah.
How can our audience, our wonderful audience, help?
Yeah. So let me talk about the second one also, which is West Valley Federated Women's Club.
Yeah, tell us.
Once again, if you think back to the beginning of our conversation, Florence Peer was a member of West Valley Federated Women's Club that started all this. So not only did they help start Books Aloud, but they also, just this last year, they gave us a substantial donation, which I think you'll see in the picture if it pops up. And so they have supported us over the years. So really grateful for West Valley Federated Women's Club. There's also many other organizations that will come and volunteer and help us. Sharks Foundation also in the past has been a wonderful donor for us. Moore Foundation, which is one of the co-founders of Intel, same thing. So we receive so much from so many foundations that are doing what we're doing. They're helping people serve.
What would we do without our foundations, Clifford?
Yes.
Really? What would you say to people who want to find out more about Books Aloud?
Well, one of the things I'd say is if you come to the library downtown, come down, say hi, just pop in.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah, if you are in the Martin Luther King Library and you get on the elevator and you go down, when you step off the elevator, we're right there.
You're right there.
You'll see a beautiful quilt that's on the wall that somebody made that says Books Aloud. And we can always use help. We can always use volunteers. Once again, any of these foundations. Another one I just want to mention is One Brick, another wonderful volunteer foundation. They came and helped with our event. Made it one of the smoothest and easiest events we've ever had. And that's what they do. They volunteer for volunteer organizations. So once again, it's like there's an energy, especially in this valley, of helping, and of serving. And so the more that we can do that and help foundations and help different organizations and help different groups, the better this valley is.
Are you able to help other groups?
To a certain extent. Like I say, Pace Foundation was one of those that we just connected with. And they have a very specific need that we can help. Lions Foundation also, because they work with blind, and that's something we can do. So we try to connect wherever we can with those. Kiwanis also is another group that services a lot in the community. Rotary Club also. So many of these clubs, there's a symbiotic relationship that we have. They support us, and we support the people that they're working with.
This is really a good question. What would you say to people who are long-standing volunteers in other nonprofit groups? And how do you keep the excitement going? I know the answer, it's you. No, you're a Dale Carnegie person. You know, act enthusiastic and you'll be enthusiastic. You're the perfect person for that. No, how do you do that?
Thank you. So I think the most important thing is to really honor your volunteers, whatever that looks like. Maybe you take them out to lunch. Maybe if they're not the kind of person that wants to go, you give them a gift card or something. But mostly you just tell them, thank you. We really appreciate your help. We could not do this without you. You know, a lot of the organizations that have volunteers like us, we have 4 employees. Everything's done by volunteers. We are so grateful for their help. And we have volunteers that have been doing this for year after year after year after year after. They just keep coming back. We couldn't do what we do without them. They know the system. They know the process. So same thing for other organizations. Really honor your volunteers. Like, love them up because they deserve it. You know, they're giving their time and their energy. Just let them know you appreciate it.
And what do you specifically do? What don't you do with Books Aloud?
So we'll do like volunteer luncheons. There's especially like the ones that just helped with this gala. So Nancy, our office manager, and Susan Tonneson, they're the co-chairs of this event. They have really taken care of the other people that were on the committee. You know, they'll take them out to lunch. They'll get together and have gatherings. You know, once again, both to honor them and also to just celebrate them. Because we know that, you know, we couldn't have done this without them.
Oh, well, we've already talked about this, but I think it requires more talk. How has the changing technology made your products and services substantially different? But tell again.
Yeah.
That is so
like I say, it shifted, and we still, like, I would say 90% of what we do is still on tape. And most people say, like, why would you use tape? Well, you know, think about what our clientele is. If I'm blind, autistic, Asperger's, anything like that, a nice big tape machine that has big buttons, it starts and stops right where you left off. That's helpful.
Indeed.
If you do a CD, it doesn't do that. So how would you know, let's say you're listening to a book that's 15 hours long, how would you know where you left off? How would you get back to that place? With a tape, that's easy to do. With the Nooks, that's easy to do. With CDs, not so much. As we look at moving this to, you know, like an online format, same thing. We'll have to create a system that's easy for them to use. But that's been a big part of this process of shifting from one technology to the next, is to make sure that we're still like honoring our clients' needs, because that's the most important piece. It's not just that we're producing, you know, anybody can do that. There's lots of audiobooks out there. How do we create a system and a service that really honors our clientele, that honors who really needs this service? And so that's been our process. We still have a lot on tape. We have, you know, 4 duplicating machines that duplicate 8 tapes at a time. Most of our library, if you go down there, I recommend, please come see it.
Will.
You'll see most of our library is on tape. But now it's also everything since 2010 that we've recorded is all also in a MP3 format. So that gives us the ability to start building another way to get this out. Like I say, the Nooks was a way. That was part of that process. And they're also, you can start and stop them right where you left off. So that's helpful.
We have a few minutes left. What else would you like to say about Books Aloud? I love that name.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Well, I would like to say thank you for having us.
My pleasure,
This is an honor
indeed.
to be here and to be able to talk to the community about what we do. And once again, just gratitude for all who have contributed, whether it was, you know, with their energy, with just honoring us, with talking about us, with sharing it, however it was done. If someone can benefit from what we do, you know, we're here to help. There's never been a charge for our service. There never will be. We sell nothing.
Nothing at
Nothing.
all.
We sell nothing.
So it's all
free.
All free within the whole system.
Yes.
That's amazing.
It's wonderful.
Yeah. What do you perceive that you would like to happen?
Yeah.
In 20 years.
So that came back to the part that touched me earlier.
Yeah.
It's like, I would like to see one of our larger foundations, Silicon Valley, all of them do volunteer work. You know, they all have ways to do this. To actually help us create an online system that uses what we already have and makes it available to the clientele that we have. So it's taking it that next step. You know, we've been able to go through these little steps, and now we actually need to make a bigger step, and that's going to take a bigger player. And we can't do that ourselves, but we could do it with help.
But not 20 years. I mean,
well, but it has to start now to get to that 20 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's say you've got to fantasize this. Say 10 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Once again, I see it as being all available online, so that we're not, you know, packing up boxes and shipping out tapes.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I see. And, you know, there's other systems. The Library of Congress has something similar to that. The difference about ours is it's very personal. The books are read by a person, not by a computer.
That's right.
Yeah, there's a process that happens, which is like having your child or your mother or your father or your son or your daughter read to you. That's very personal.
That is such a good point.
Yeah.
And that's a good way to end this show. Clifford, you are a natural on TV. You're a TV star.
Thank you.
And this is your first TV appearance.
It is that.
And I said to you, and you're not nervous. I think it's amazing.
Thank you.
It took me years to get over mine. I'm still not over it. I still screw up on my words.
Well, you've been fantastic, so thank you so much.
Thank you. And all I can say is that I wish you only, number one, the best of health.
Yes.
And that your Books Aloud Incorporated just keeps getting off the map, the planet.
Wonderful.
And I want to thank our crew. I mean, I'll get teary practically when I think about all the people here at KMVT. I love KMVT. And our crew, we couldn't do without them. We're all volunteers. And of course, I have to thank our audience, my goodness. And you know what? I can't wait to see you next time. Bye-bye. Mwah, mwah. So good.
Wonderful. Thank you.
So good. Okay, we just do.
Stay there, though.
Okay.